for a while. Eventually someone joined and we immediately had a lot in common.
Have you been in any other worlds, or is this your first one you joined?
I've been in like the...
No, that's DMCA. This was good, Skip.
Okay, what up, friendos? Welcome back. We're talking about cryptocurrency scams today and what happens if you scam the wrong people. I made a video on the Video SE channel when I used to make videos on that channel like a year or so ago, looking at what has happened to some people that have stolen from the wrong people or have flaunted their wealth on social media with having tons of cryptocurrency and being multimillionaires. And what happens when people find them or go looking for them and try to extort them of this wealth that they're showing on social media when they make themselves an easy target. And I'm in no way saying that this is okay. I am going to say for many years now, when I've made these videos talking about people defrauding others in the cryptocurrency world, because it's like the wild, wild west, we end a lot of those videos saying nothing's going to happen because it's just cryptocurrency, baby. This is the world that we live in. This is where people in Russia can steal from other people outside of Russia and nothing ever happens to them. They just stay there. The local government maybe accepts some kind of bribe, or they just don't care in any way, and they just are allowed to operate. But some people are so greedy that they don't just steal from where they're allowed to, apparently. They steal from people around them. And in the case of this specific person, Roman Novak, Novak maybe, with it being a Russian name, he was convicted of fraud in 2020 for running quite a large cryptocurrency exchange scam called Transcript. And he stole large sums of money. And then after that, after being released, he started another cryptocurrency scam, this time called Fintopio, where he reportedly raised around $500 million from investors, primarily from China and the Middle East. And then in early October 2025 said, we're closing, we're reviewing operation, and all of this money went missing. And where did the money go to? Criminals. One of which being Roman Novak, somebody who had a history of being a fraudster. And this person posted all over social media, him and his wife, doing extravagant things, living an extravagant lifestyle, as if he's some kind of like a big-time social media influencer and guru. You'll see people do this to sell a course, usually when they'll say like, oh, I'm big in fintech, I'm big in the crypto world, and if you want to become big too and earn all this crazy money from day trading, buy my course. But in reality, they're using play money, or they're using Inspect Element, and they don't make any money trading, and they make all their money from the course. And they're a liar, they're a fraud, they're a guru. And what this guy was instead, he wasn't a liar, he wasn't a guru, he wasn't trying to sell a course. He was just a fucking really rich fraudster who'd stolen from people and then thought it would be a good idea to live a public lifestyle, showing those he defrauded, oh, by the way, rich and powerful people, here's all the things that I bought with your money. You know, here's these expensive cars. Look at this crazy fucking expensive car. Step by step, the boy's dream comes true. He's got a fucking car in his house. like that's something you'd reasonably.
Why do you guys do this stupid shit with your money? You can't think of something better, like help your friends.
And move to Dubai, which is where all the fraudsters go, by the way. They all go to Dubai.
Is this the most expensive city in the world?
It's not.
It's not.
And when he was in Dubai, he still couldn't stop scamming people. He still couldn't stop himself. And then he got chopped up and put in boxes and dumped in the desert, him and his wife. And obviously, I'm not saying that this is like a
good thing.
I'm not defending people doing this. Obviously, I think this is fucking insane. But at the same time, play stupid games, win stupid prizes. If you steal hundreds of millions of dollars from rich and powerful people, what the fuck do you think's going to happen when they log on social media and see you posting about a new car you've bought on Instagram? Like, do you think they're just going to be like, oh yeah, fair enough, you're in this place now where the government doesn't give a fuck about you, where if you went anywhere else, you're probably going to be arrested? they're going to take matters into their own hands, aren't they? Life's not a movie, bro. You don't just get to, like, leave when this happens. So I'll read you the story. He reportedly sent a number of frantic texts prior to his murder. A crypto millionaire whose dismembered remains were found buried in a Dubai desert sent a series of desperate text messages before his death, the report claims. The bodies of Roman Novak and his wife, Anna, 38 and 37, were discovered in the desert after the couple were allegedly lured to a meeting with people posing as investors at the Hatta Mountain Resort. Reports claim that the pair were then extorted for cryptocurrency before they met a grisly end last month, according to the Daily Mail. He reportedly collected a coveted British AC Cobra car in the days before his disappearance, before a personal driver chauffeured the couple to a car park close to a lake. The Dubai-based crypto magnate and his wife, this is very fucking interesting wording, he was a scammer from Russia.
He was a scammer from
was
Russia.
then said to have switched cars for the remainder of the journey. At that point, Roman reportedly sent text messages to a number of people explaining that he was, quote, stuck in the mountains on the Oman border. It's been claimed that the 38-year-old also told his contacts that he desperately needed to get his hands on $200,000. Subsequently, contact with the young couple was lost. A spokesperson for the Russian Investigative Committee, RIC...
Guys, I desperately need $200,000. Please help me right now. I'm totally in trouble. I ripped off some crypto gangsters. They want to kill my wife. I need $200,000. You know, I need $200,000. I desperately need $200,000. My need is so much more than yours. Please, it's just, come on, just slap a pimp with $200,000. Come on, let me hold $200,000.
Roman and Anna's phones were tracked for 2 days, digitally documenting their movements from Hatta. The devices then traveled to Oman, Cape Town, and finally South Africa before the signals vanished early last month. Authorities in Russia and the United Arab Emirates have teamed up to tackle the murder investigation, and they believe that the phones might have been left on a ruse to throw off investigators. Roman and Anna's concerned relatives in their home country raised the alarm about them vanishing after growing concerned when they were unable to contact them. It was revealed a few days ago that 3 Russian suspects had been arrested after returning from Dubai in connection with the killings. Not going to read the names because I'm going to butcher them. An ex-homicide investigator who is now an alleged drug smuggler. These 2 other people who served for Russia in the war in Ukraine were detained. They have been remanded in custody until the 28th of December. Sharing an update on the probe into the horror murders, RSC spokesperson said the investigation has established that the killers had accomplices who helped organize the abduction. They rented cars and premises where the victims were held by force. After the murders, the perpetrators disposed of knives and the victims' personal belongings, leaving them in different emirates. Roman and Anna's young children who have been orphaned are currently in the care of the grandparents, reports say. Very sad, in a way. Now, obviously, this is like a touchy subject because they've left behind kids, right? And reasonably, if somebody's like scamming loads of money, should be dealt with by the authorities. But what happens in a lot of these cases is they just go somewhere else where they're outside the law and then live comfortably forever with money they've stolen from people. And I'm sure there's a deeper, more interesting story here of why these specific people did this. Was it just that they were going after them for a small amount of cryptocurrency, 200k, because they saw him living this lifestyle on social media and then knew where he lived, knew that they could, you know, get this greedy person lured into this area under the false pretenses of being an investor that he could then probably defraud? Or was this people that they'd stolen from that had hired these other people to do it? Was this people that they'd stolen from and decided they wanted to get some of their money back? The thing is that if you Google this person, they're connected to other wealthy people that have been involved in some other shady dealings and things like that. Not something I'm going to go in depth on because I'd rather not, maybe one day. But this is an increasingly common story. This happens all the time. A lot of the times it's not even reported on. A lot of the times the people don't get killed. They just have all their shit stolen. They just have a bunch of their money taken. They're just lured into somewhere, or they post on social media that they're going somewhere because they're fucking stupid. You know, oh, look at me on social media. I've got millions and millions of dollars in cryptocurrency. This thing that somebody can fucking press a couple buttons if they have you logging into it, and that money's gone forever, untraceable, potentially untraceable, not really, but sometimes maybe a little bit if somebody's looking.
This is my fear, right? I came looking for it. I was like, I'm going to go look at the VR chat reviews because I know there's going to be a warning in there somewhere that this is some kind of wretched hive mind of villains. This game is basically a hive mind of predators looking for kids. This is the game equivalent of the Epstein Island, but 100x worse. Now they got a predatory gotcha marketplace. And 5,000 people wearing cat ears downloaded on Steam. TikTok brain rot. Easy to fall down rabbit holes.
To somewhere where maybe they're not going to be extradited or the money's never going to be recovered, and then they just release them. And these people never post about it. It's never reported to the police because they're told, do that and bad things are going to happen. It's a secret somewhat, but this happens fucking constantly. It just doesn't always end with the person being dismembered and buried in the desert, because usually they're after money and not the death of the people involved. But this is one of those scenarios where it's really hard to feel sad for the people involved, because what the fuck did you expect was going to happen if you're stealing hundreds of millions of dollars from people? Do you think you can just live the rest of your life flaunting it on social media? Like, the brazenness to even do that when you don't need the money. I can understand if somebody's selling a course and they're grifting and they're fucking trying to steal money from the gullible idiots who think they're gonna trade Forex for fucking 10 grand a day and live like Andrew Tate or something within a couple months. But if you're already like incredibly wealthy from money you know you stole from people, I'm not saying I'd ever do this, but if I was going to, I'd be in a fucking compound with armed guards 24/7, and I'd never leave the country I was in, because I'd constantly be looking over my shoulder like, you know, somebody's going to be looking for some comeuppance one day, and I'm certainly never going to have a social media account, full stop. Let alone
Like, no.
one where I go on and I post about...
Yeah, why do
fucking
idiots
look at
think
my
they can do
Lamborghinis and
crime? They
shit.
just don't care about their
Once I was going
freedom,
to
or
make
what?
gum liners with beautiful cars. Now I drive them and collect them in my garage. Not anymore, you don't, my boy. But there we go.
Not anymore,
Thanks for watching, as always.
my
Hopefully you
boy.
Enjoyed. If this
I
is something
did.
that could be enjoyable,
I did. I
guess.
think this is great.
Check the links in the video description. Send me content suggestions if there's something you want to see me cover, and use my link if you want to buy some gamer subs. Don't. Probably not a great
should
thing
watch
to be
all of
associating
Kira's
them with.
stuff.
It's a pretty fucked up story, to be honest.
It
But if you
is.
use my code, you'll get a
It's
discount. I'll get
entertaining,
kickback.
way better
Win-win
than
for
most
everybody.
most
I'll see you
YouTube.
next time. Stay safe. We're out. Peace. Okay, what up, friendos? Welcome back. We're going to talk today about a specific scenario involving a video game that I like. I enjoyed this game.
The fuck was that?
Well, I did, at least. But more focusing on the overall picture of one of the worst video gaming companies around, and one that I don't think gets as much hate as it probably should. We're talking about Krafton. And we're talking about Krafton specifically with what they've just done with Last Epoch.
Krafton.
Which is an ARPG. It's a game that released recently
I don't
into
care
the
about.
1.0. I did play
Like
it on the
Lost
release.
Oasis. Why do you
Cool
guys
game
get scammed
if
by
you
this?
want to like have a break from
Diablo,
the grueling nature of Path of
2.
Exile. I think Last Epoch is a fun experience. Unfortunately, it's currently being review bombed for something that the developer has essentially been forced into, at least as far as I can tell, from the publisher Krafton. Now, Krafton has been in the headlines for the last 6+ months because of what they've been doing in regards to trying to swindle, you know, trying to cheat the developers that they purchased who made Subnautica. out of a massive bonus that they offered them when the company was purchased, when they purchased the IP. And that's a whole story I'm not going to get into here because it's way too dense to speak about offhandedly in a video. But basically, ever since then, Krafton have been in the headlines over and over again for just making some of the dumbest fucking decisions I've ever seen. And they're doing exactly what you saw companies doing 3 years ago when the NFT craze was going on, but back before everyone decided NFTs were dead and just sort of collectively ignored the fact that they've been talking about how NFTs were going to revolutionize the entire industry and telling all the shareholders, oh yeah, we're definitely building on the blockchain, guys. You know, that's certainly happening. And then doing nothing, and it doing nothing as a technology in the games industry, and just pretending like they never said it. So the new thing that everybody's doing is AI, right? Everyone's doing AI. AI this, AI that. And Krafton specifically have said, we are going to be an AI-first company. Which you can translate this in many different ways. It is a South Korean company, so, you know, Google Translate this one. We are going to be an AI-first company. AKA, we're going to produce utter fucking garbage and hope that we can produce this garbage with less payroll, less employees, and therefore make a higher profit margin. That's basically where we're at with it. And I will just say, for clarity's sake, and because some people will have this opinion, and they're absolutely correct.
Last Epoch, Last Oasis, they died because I wouldn't play them.
If a game uses AI and the game's good enough,
I have main character syndrome. You can see it. I think the same thing's going to happen to it would be toxic for me to say so, but there's a bunch of games that are going to die because I just can't stand to play them. It's weird. If I supported them, they would stay there, but nope.
Nobody will care. And when I say nobody, care. I'm being a little bit hyperbolic because some people will care. But realistically, the amount of people that care versus how much money the game will make if the game's good enough makes it a completely redundant and irrelevant opinion.
This is true.
Like, there will be people that will always say, I won't buy this, I won't support this because it's against my beliefs or whatever. Fair enough, if that's the way you feel. Vote with your wallet always. But if a thing is good enough, it will sell, and people will buy it, and people will play it, and it will become the new norm. That's forever. Like, it doesn't matter what the technology is. This would happen with blockchain. It would happen with crypto. It would happen with NFTs. It will happen with AI if they can actually get it over the finish line to being a good product. I think that's just common sense. But what we've seen so far is that the way that AI, and this is such an overly broad term, is being used, we don't have a proof of concept of this, like, managing these companies better. There's studies out there where most companies that have been using AI have said it hasn't changed anything. Like, we've not got more productive. We've not got significantly less productive either. So we'll have to see where this goes. But Krafton, in the last 6 months, have lost 30% of their market cap.
Wow.
They're down 18% on the year. And this is when a lot of other gaming companies are doing fine. You know, they're doing okay. And the reason Krafton's share price is getting fucked into the ground is that they've not really managed to build upon any of the big IPs that they've had, and they've just sort of stagnated. But also because when they're doing things like offering resignation programs for people that are higher up in the company, just so that they can replace those people presumably with AI management, which is fucking insane when there's no proof of concept of this working. Obviously, this is going to have ramifications on the share price because people lose confidence in the company. And while there is a lot of circle jerking around AI, right up until the point where they are producing good products that are making tons of money, it's going to be seen as a risk, especially when, again, the company is sort of on the backslide as it is. That being said, Krafton have bought some companies and bought some IPs and bought some games that I like. And one of those was Last Epoch. And I'll remind you, when Last Epoch, it was a Kickstarter game, one of the many successors that aren't an MMORPG from Kickstarter. They said this one-time payment will be all that a player will have to spend to have the complete Last Epoch experience and be on the same footing as other players. This is a promise to people backing the game for the future that you won't have to buy anything apart from cosmetics, things like cosmetic battle passes, cosmetics in the cash shop. It's going to be a box price game, and that's it. Now you'll see that they have a mostly negative review score, and this is off the back of a very recent bit of news that they are now introducing paid DLCs that are classes in the game. You can see here what they're saying. Everyone who owns the game before this new expansion comes out will get this new expansion for free. But then they're also introducing, and it just makes me laugh that they've trotted somebody out here and said, okay, maybe they use ChatGPT for this. Maybe this is part of the new AI first. But try to present to the players this overwhelmingly negative thing that is a polar opposite of what we've previously said. And by the way, Last Epoch's not like the biggest game ever, but when people were kind of sick of Path of Exile 2, specifically in 0.2's patch, I followed this all at the time because I was playing both games. A lot of people were like, Last Epoch does a lot of things well, and they're doing things that their fans really like, and there's a really hard...
I hate these games because all it really is left clicking and right clicking. It's like I think Pokemon is literally... I mean, occasionally you'll have like 4 abilities like Diablo 3 or 4. You have to press like 4 more buttons, but it's like basically a controller game that's really not very deep. You know, ARPs.
Core sort of contingent of people that always come back for the new seasons for this game, and the game could be like a big competitor to Path of Exile, while Path of Exile were making bad decisions early on, and could just go alongside it. As long as they don't release at the same time, people are going to play both games because it's an enjoyable experience, and it's a lot more light on your time than Path of Exile is, because the gearing seems to, like, unless you're going for super perfect gear, you can sort of get to endgame in Last Epoch quite quickly, and it's not as complicated as PoE. So there's a place for it. It's like a more arcadey version. It's kind of like D3 versus Path of Exile back in the day. So there's a lot of people that have bought into this and have been really praising the devs prior to this bullshit. And then they've trotted this line out and tried to make it as if it's a good thing. I'm excited to announce that we are introducing something genuinely new to Last Epoch. It's a good thing, guys. It's good. A fully alternate playable class built on systems that work differently from anything else in the game. Okay, you had my curiosity. Now you've got my attention. We're calling this new category Paradox classes, and the first one will debut alongside the upcoming expansion as paid DLC for players who want to explore new playstyles.
You don't have
These classes will let us experiment in new and innovative
ways,
ways, and we'll have plenty to share as we get closer to release. So this is a good thing. We're going back on everything we said previously that we've sold you on for multiple years, that we sold to get the game funded, that we've sold throughout being supported on early access, that we've sold on the game fully releasing. We're now going back on that completely, and we're selling you a paid character, which I don't have to be the fucking clairvoyant here to tell you that how this always works. It's the same exact model that it has always worked for games where they sell you a class or a character. League of Legends, looking at you, for example. The class is always strong as fuck, right? Because it's hard anyway to balance new things when you bring it in. There's always like creep of power when you're designing new things. The new thing is usually either incredibly undertuned or incredibly overtuned. This can be seen as pay to win, but not only that, the issue is you're going back on a commitment, and that's the first erosion of trust where people they're out on your game, especially when there's alternatives. If Path of Exile was in a really shit position and the game sucked, you know, it'd be more likely people could swallow this. But while Path of Exile 2 is getting better and better, PoE 1's still being supported, this is a real good way to just say, fuck this game completely. Because if this is what you're doing now, what are you going to be doing?
Can you... Just go back. Now my Google search, should be above free games. And free games are good. This is a good website, but I don't use it every day. I think it's a better one. Yeah. And then, oh no, 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 go back.
Okay, what up, friendos? Welcome back. We're going to talk today about a specific scenario involving a video game that I like. I enjoy this game. Well, I did, at least.
There was a good enough one. I was killed. Yeah, I was killed. I'll just go to a private server.
Of all the failed MMOs over the early 2010s, one game's failure hurt the most. With the promised potential of an engrossing sandbox open world, massive world PvP, and a truly...
I am trying to... In Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, can you play an evil playthrough where you kill everybody you meet? Like a bandit? Game is a story-driven trilogy, yeah. No. No, you can't.
a player-driven economy like never before. This is Arcade, an MMORPG that captured the attention of players all over the world. For Origins, Arcade was born from the vision of XL Games' Jake Song, creator of the incredible MMO Lineage.
Might be fun to play Fallout 4 on Luna. And do a like a kill everyone playthrough.
which is still loved to this day, and then published in North America and Europe by Tryon Worlds, creator of Rift and Trove. It sought to redefine the MMO landscape with an array of ambitious features, but the game seemingly died after only a couple months. Throughout this video, I'll be reminiscing on the rise of this game and lamenting its fall, exploring the factors that led to it and the legacy it's left behind. So, this is the untold story of Arcade, a tale of ambition, promise, and greed. Together, we'll journey through the humble beginnings of a new player all the way to the end game, discovering what made this MMO so beloved, the future it holds, and to find that moment where that driving ambition clashed with the harsh realities of the gaming industry, but mostly greed.
Mostly greed. Oh, that open water seems so fun. The Rust Naval update is gonna be so sweet.
But did it really die? The game was never flawed at its core. The publisher of Arcade in the West, Tryon Worlds, had a history of mismanagement and monetized the game so heavily outside of what the core game felt like in the alpha tests that it didn't really resemble the game players had come to love, and many players left through mishandling of key events like Aurora. The fortunate thing is many of these issues were not the fault of the game, so the game has lived on through different avenues of playing, like private servers and fresh starts. At the time of this video, Arcade Classic is a few months old and still thriving. This is a private server set on what many consider the golden era of Arcade, up to version 3.0, and is managed by other lovers of the game. I'll be talking more about the server at the end of the video, but in the meantime, you should give it a try if the game looks interesting to you, or you are an old player yearning for the game done right. Arcade is a very difficult game to describe quickly. It has ambition, creativity, and is even cited as the driving inspiration of one of the most anticipating upcoming MMOs, Ashes of Creation. What made Arcade unique from other MMOs of its kind, and what keeps so many players playing it after 10 years on private servers? If the game was so
I don't know, buddy, you just dropped Ashes. Maybe I'll leave.
Well, before anything, let's just look at how the game plays. The journey of a new player in Arcade starts not unlike many other MMOs, though I would say it's more exciting early on, as you aren't always waiting for the level cap to experience most of the game's features. You'll start by choosing one of two factions, either Nuia or Harania, Western and Eastern continents respectively. Each faction consists of 3 different races with unique racial abilities and starting zones, but I wouldn't really worry about these too much. You'll then choose your skill set, which is initially slightly restricted, maybe just for first impressions of the game, but this choice is not permanent and it can be changed very easily early on. Then, as you level and fairly early on, you'll add 2 more skill sets, creating your actual class, by combining 3 of the 10 skill sets. Initially, the game had 120 combinations, all with a uniquely named class per combination, like my personal favorite, Blade Dancer, which is Battle Rage, Songcraft, and Shadowplay. Of course, not all combinations are going to be considered viable with 120, but there's nothing wrong with playing something that's just fun to you. And you can always switch between skill sets if you need to be meta for an event, so experiment away and carve out something that just resonates with you, even if it's wonky.
I don't want to micromanage that many abilities.
So after character creation,
WoW was
you'll find
annoying
yourself in
enough
the
as it
starting zone of
was.
your chosen faction, and here you'll just learn basic game mechanics such as movement, combat, interacting with NPCs, doing a lot of quests. It's just a very run-of-the-mill MMO start. At least for the majority of the game's life, there's only been ground mounts in Arcade. They can level up independently, gain abilities like attacks and speed boosts, and some even have things like stealth. And they can be given their own armor, which you can upgrade. Getting your mount was a little underwhelming, considering how it was talked about. They said it'd be this personal bond between you and your mount, you grow it from a baby and all this. But it takes about 5 minutes, and you just click F over and over to feed it, give it water, play with it, and all that. And then it's just fully grown, and that's that. There's nothing wrong with that, of course, but I just remember players really hyping this up on release, like it was something special. There are no flying mounts in Arcade, but there are gliders. And this is something I absolutely love about the game.
Yeah, that's the
Gliders
best part of the
can
game.
Glide.
Yep.
They can't really go wherever they want, but the feeling of running up a cliff to glide off it to get somewhere never really gets old somehow after 10 years. That limitation keeps the world feeling more alive. Everywhere in the game can be reached just about, and there are almost no invisible walls, so if you see a mountain, you can climb that mountain, to quote somebody. And reaching those peaks just feels that more rewarding. Without flying mounts, the open world just feels much more alive, honestly. Think of many of the early complaints in WoW when flying mounts were introduced. The game felt more lifeless, as you wouldn't really see players just going from point A to point B. They also just wouldn't work in a game like this because that kind of surveillance from the skies would just be too powerful in a game with so many trade caravans and world events and whatnot. And something I really love about gliders is the unique nature of so many of them. It's not just a one-size-fits-all. You can get a sloth glider that can barrel up and do all these crazy flips, and you can get astro wings, which are my personal favorite, which let you almost float and control your vertical height better. They don't go as fast though forward. You can get a glider that can stealth, you can get gliders with dive bomb attacks, and they all have these different strengths and weaknesses in their turning ability, flight speed, acceleration, and so forth. And you can even enhance them further. Gliders are something I'm extremely fond of in Arcade. The game uses a simple tab targeting system for combat, and one of the best aspects of it, to me, is the combo systems. And what I mean by that is that many skills can interact with each other in different ways. And while there are too many to list here, some are baked into the skills, while others are effects that can trigger different effects from other skills. Examples could be drop back, a shadow play move that has you backflip backwards. While a great utility move, it also causes some abilities to no longer have a cast time for a couple seconds, or increase the range of others, like throw a dagger, making this a really cool way to combat powerful moves if you can time it with the utility. I use it in the example here to instantly cast Under Earth. Other effects, and the more common ones you'll see, are from effects. Many skills may trigger different statuses on enemies.
Oh, I got a new
shaking the enemy.
shotgun.
When you combo this with other abilities, they may cause the enemy
Nice,
to be
I
tripped.
did get a new
Part of a
shotgun.
wombo combo, if you
Yeah,
will,
I got a new
where they fall to the
shotgun,
ground and are
bashing,
essentially fully
staggering.
stunned for a short moment. So you'll be doing a lot of these
Frenzy and
basic quests
stagger.
for a while.
Nice.
They're
Gonna
very
go
plain.
soup up this gun. Oh, you are messing up the screen over and over again.
One of the early things you may notice, and it's important to get this out of the way early, is a meter for labor on your UI. These are points that regenerate slowly that are used to do basic activities like crafting, harvesting, mining, or even opening loot from enemies. They may seem like a MOBA-like mechanic, and many players were critical of it for this reason, including myself. But as I've played the game, I've started to understand how important a mechanic like this can be when done properly. To just keep the economy steady and keep viable gold-making methods for players of different skill levels and different time constraints. A more time-invested player may use all these labor points over the course of various activities like running packs to find the greatest gold-to-labor ratio, while a player who didn't have as much time or availability, or was just a little lazier, could do something very simple but not as profitable, like process logs into lumber, for example. And because so many activities cost labor, crafting's almost always profitable. In many other games like RuneScape, for example, people train skills to get to 99, not to make money. And it's usually more profitable to just sell raw materials.
Have there been any rumors on the net or in the news about what's going to happen to New World?
points than to spend the time to craft it yourself, like a uncut diamond, because it's not the product they're after in RuneScape, it's the XP. But in Arcade, it's definitely the gold they're after, so in this sense, labor is really good. It time gates production skills and makes players decide what to invest their labor points into and what to buy outright from other players who made different decisions. If no one wants to use their points on processing logs to lumber, then lumber's going to become more expensive, making it something worth using those points on. So I feel it's just a very equalizing system in that sense, and really does help keep that strong player-driven economy, in my opinion at least. Proficiencies are the game's non-combat skills, and there are plenty of these. They'll generally fit into two categories, gathering and processing, with a few outliers. You level these skills by using labor towards them, and it gives you experience at a 1-to-1 ratio of labor used. So doing an action that costs 500 labor will give you 500 proficiency. You level through tiers and brackets, and as you hit certain milestones, not only will you unlock more valuable crafts, you'll also get a reduction in the labor required to do these actions, but that will also lower the proficiency gain you get as well, since you're using less labor. And you can do these actions faster. The maximum proficiency is 230,000. The way you level these can be a little convoluted at first glance, but to simplify it, you can specialize in a handful of skills. And with a special item, you can increase that number even further and indefinitely, but as you get more specialized, the amount of skills you can upgrade past certain brackets will narrow more and more. There are a lot of unique proficiencies, and some of them have more utility than others. While you might not find a lot of unique craftable benefits from the commerce skill, if you're running a lot of trade packs, the decreased labor cost alone and action time can add up and be more than worth it, because it increases your gold to labor ratio so much. There's some more interesting ones too. Artistry is a skill that lets you write music using a sort of in-house MIDI composing system, and you'll be able to play music on many of the instruments in the game and craft playable instruments. Other players can hear the tunes you play also, for better or for worse.
So I can now teleport 3 systems away, which allows me to get around. It's funny that that's the first thing they have you buy, because they know that you get stuck inside stations, and that was their solution to it. They don't know how to fix that, but they do know how to let you get out of it if you actually play the game. So now that takes me back to station trading for more money. What was I doing before? It was like, well, let's go look around. We'll go look around at the market here. I think I want to try and rebind something right quick here in controls for the menu navigation. Map pan, horizontal or vertical, map rotate, map tilt, menu scroll up. This wasn't it, was it? It was, like, is it menu controls? Go back. I'm looking for hollow map. Oops, no. Hollow map. Why? Hollow map. You don't have it? Oh, left, right, up, down, rotate left, rotate up, zoom in, zoom out. There it is, X and Z. Actually, I would prefer if it was just shift. Remove. It both works out. That way, if I want to zoom in, I can I can shift roll. Yep, and that way I can always zoom if I need. Okay, cool. I'm in this station right now. Boy, the 3D map is fucking cool. I'm so glad X4 is there. It really did save me a lot of money in the end. Oh yeah, Sky Oblivion is coming. TBA. Shadows of Doubt. I did like Shadows of Doubt, but it's not good enough. let's look at deals for... role-playing. Fallout 4, Fallout New Vegas. The prices are much better on this store than it is on Steam. I want Oblivion Remaster, but I don't think it exists on this client, which is just insane. The fuck were they thinking with that? Like, what were they thinking with that? Why did they put Oblivion Remaster on GOG? That's so dumb. It's a single-player game. I guess it has DRM, I think. Probably why. I dropped my toothpick and really... Oh, no, there it is. I found it. Clear Obscure is $40. Skyrim's 10. Neverwinter Nights Digital Edition for $6 is a pretty good deal, but I don't think I want to play that game again. I know I don't. Yeah, they don't make combat games for me well enough. Are you in? No, but you'll be there eventually.
The crafting system can look deceptively simple, and in many senses it is. So to get the gear, you get the materials and craft it, and then you upgrade that piece and so forth. There are 3 categories of gear most players will use. Crafted, like Illustrious to Ionad, which can be traded freely at any point.
The graphics have always been
Obsidian,
good in
which
this
is
game.
also crafted, but in a pretty different method, and untradeable once equipped, or gear from world bosses and dungeons. Most players have their eyes set on the former, Illustrious to Ionad. To craft these, you'll first need to get yourself an Illustrious version of the craft. So let's pretend we're trying to make an Ionad sword. First, we craft Illustrious, which is just basic materials, kind of just a time sink. But when you craft this, it'll be a sealed Illustrious sword. And when you unseal this, it'll open as one of 4 variants at equal chances, giving different stat priorities. To upgrade to the next tier, Magnificent, though, you need it to be a summer variant. And this changes for every kind of weapon and gear. It'll always be a different variant. It's not always just summer, but for swords it is. So you only have a 25% chance of the sword being summer, meaning a 25% chance to upgrade it further. And this will continue again. So if you do get summer, you can upgrade it to a Magnificent sword. And when you unseal your Magnificent sword, if it's that 25% chance again of being a Magnificent summer sword, you can upgrade it to a Furium. And
the store has a problem for me where there's lots of good stuff here. Ooh, the 13 remake might be really good, but there's lots of really good stuff here, but I don't want to go back into my past. I want good stuff now. I like, you know. Oh, well.
And now's when it gets harder, because now there aren't 4 variants, there's 7. So when you craft your Ephirium, you only have a 1 in 7 chance, or around 14% chance of it being upgradable. And the same repeats at Delphinad. And once you get an upgradable Delphinad Summer Sword, you'll need an exorbitant amount of gold and materials to craft it into the ultimate weapon, an Ionad Sword. But it could still unseal as a variant that gives poor stats, like for a sword to give you intelligence or something, more set for a mage, after all that investment. So let's say you did get it though. You got this amazing Delphinad sword. You got a 25% chance, 25% chance, 14% chance, 14% chance. Very rare to get that.
Silicone wafers.
And then you upgraded it all the way to Ionad. But it's still weak. It's a powerful base item, but it's not upgraded at all. So in comes the regrading system. To upgrade the gear, you regrade it. If you ignore basic gray items, there are 10 grades from Grand to Mythic, and you use scrolls from the printing skill to give yourself a percent-based chance of upgrading it or failing. And if you want better odds, then regrade charms, which in Tryon servers were on the cash shop, but have found in-game crafted variants on private servers. You start with something of a 40% chance to upgrade it, and as you get to the top, this will get down to as low as a 2.5% chance of success. The thing is, for mini tiers, if you don't upgrade it, it just fails and you waste your money. Bummer. But starting at the rank Celestial, you'll first only have a 10% chance of success, but then it no longer just fails. It'll have a 45% chance to just degrade all the way down to Arcane. And now there's still another 45% that's not accounted for. So if you roll that, the item breaks entirely. So that Ionad sword you have is just gone. And after Celestial, there's no more failing at all. It's either you succeed or break the item entirely, and these chances of success just get wildly, wildly smaller. And this was more punishing early on in the game as well. At launch in earlier patches, the items could degrade even starting at Heroic, I remember. But here's an Arcade Classic regrade simulator. And I'm just gonna go right through it to see how long it takes to get an Epic. I'm not gonna use any lucky sun points or regrade charms just because it would take too long to constantly click off them and click them back in for every time.
The gear isn't worth that.
Realistically, most players will only use them starting at unique about, so we're just gonna do it raw and see how it turns out.
This is terrible. I'm getting off this now. I just needed to remember. I remember it. It's just like, you know, that I needed to be reminded.
For many of you, the first time you jumped into New World, you probably ran into issues like this.
Minutes before. It's weird. I just asked the AI, Google AI, about like if they're sunsetting New World, and then in my YouTube search, I immediately get a thing in New World is ending soon. Here's why.
Or I actually got in the queue. I played D2. Oh,
fucking D2.
Damn! Holy shit! Oh my god, 10 grand?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, which is not that bad. It's like a 40-minute queue. I don't know. Maybe longer, 2 hours, something. But it's not that bad. This is what happens when you log in on the launch day and expect service that it's going to be slow. Wait, no, wait, what? Oh, my fucking headphones are dying. Damn it.
And this?
He disconnected, yeah, and he's really mad. Yeah. Oops, wait, hold on.
Bugs, crashes, weird glitches. It was all part of the early experience. Yet even with all these problems, the game had unique charm. The open world immersion, the gathering and the crafting system, the action combat, the audio. Honestly, some of the best I have seen in MMO, maybe even in any game at all. Amazon Games patched the game repeatedly during the early release period. But for every bug fix, it often felt like 3 more appeared somewhere else. And then there was the big issue, like the Void Gauntlet, which could strip every temporary bug from the enemies, including food and consumables, really just overpowered and broken. But here is where things get very interesting. New World was not done evolving. Over time, the developers added a huge amount of content, 3 new weapons, 6 new expeditions, mutated dungeons, reworked maps and zones, including First Light, transforming it into what we know today as Elysian Wilds. They improved PvP with the new game mode, Capture the Flag, arena maps that were added, and
yeah, they did all this work on the PvP trying to fix it because that's what they wanted to do in the first place. But it didn't work. getting fucked up again. So annoying.
Races that were given new rewards. And then we got a randomized dungeon mode called Catacombs, which I absolutely was a huge fan of. I liked it a lot. It was basically Catacombs, but every time you entered, it was different. Every time the generation was different, and the mobs were getting scaled with difficulties. So
these noobs, they're like blown away by Torghast.
there was some planning and strategy to be done. They were adding
Palace of the Dead, they're like blown away by it because they've never seen it in another game.
mount skins consistently that were really nice. They added swimming. I know New World actually added swimming to its own game. Controller and console support was also
Like right when they finished doing all that work, they just quit. Seems weird.
added. They added transmog systems, server transfers, and artifacts with unique perks, but they went overboard with artifacts. They added way too many artifacts and never really bothered going back to them and trying to balance them, nerfing them or buffing them. They just kept on introducing new ones all the time. Mini raids, the hatchery, the oldest one, the winter room forge, there you could find a new artifact, the Sandworld 20-man trial that later on got a rework and it basically got a bit harder with the scale up. Cyber Gorgons, where you would farm your Gorgonite Inductor so you could craft your new gear. Isle of Night, the hardest raid they ever added. I absolutely loved this raid. I was one of the lucky people to be able to finish it before the sad announcement they put out. It was generally a really hard raid and I loved it. The musical instruments and the whole performance system was also really nice. They had quality of life updates, seasonal events, and more. Basically, if you return doing these later seasons, there was a ton to do. Yet, with every edition, new bugs continue to appear. The classic New World experience. The takeaway is very simple. New World was not ready for launch in 2021, but over time, the game genuinely improved. By the
Fuck.
Night Haven expansion, people's sentiment was
You
largely
disconnect
positive.
me too
Is it worth playing
much.
in 2025? Yes, absolutely. Even if you don't dive into the endgame content, the world, crafting, story, and combat are all super solid. Season 10, in my own opinion, was their best update ever. The kind of content that makes players return. Whether you're new or coming back after a break, raids are generally challenging. PvP now has variety to it, and a speedrunning community even developed, tackling fights designed for 20 players with only 9. For example, people were doing sandworms without armor. It was genuinely getting better. If development had continued, we might have seen the daggers in the whole form. Yes, they have released the daggers, but who knows, maybe they still had work to be done on them. They were pretty underwhelming, if I'm being honest. They were being such a hyped weapon that they never really released. They were hyping it for over 2 years, and then boom, they just release it when the game gets the worst announcement. Another big one that I really was looking forward to was a battle royale mode where you would be put on a map and you would be gearing up and then fighting people. Something similar to like Fortnite. Global crafting storage. Yes, they will be adding global crafting storage. This will be huge for the game, huge for the quality of life. There will be ranked PvP and additional raid difficulties, which would make PvP so much better and so much more popular because ranked in PvP is a big thing in games. More
No.
zones.
No, it isn't. There's like 5 games that have it that are successful. CSGO 2, Fortnite, Apex, Valorant, Siege, Dota 2, Arena, Free Fire if you count it, cell phone games, PUBG. Yeah, there's about 10. There's like 10, but I mean, that's it. I mean, that's not that many.
Siege weapons and even ship buildings.
I didn't need this game. I didn't need that from this game, and they mismanaged with that, you know?
which would be insane. Imagine being on a ship floating through the water of New World, where probably the sounds would be amazing, like they did with mining or foraging, for example. Season 10 delivered on all its promises, and it did it with the smallest dev team since the launch, which makes what happened next even more shocking. The Amazon shock announcement. Just 2 weeks after the Season 10 release, Amazon laid off nearly the entire development team and announced there would be no further content updates for New World. This was not because the game was failing financially. It sold millions of copies across PC, Xbox, and PlayStation 5. It seems Amazon decided AAA MMO development was just too labor intensive and risky, and that
Yeah.
leaner AI driven project were safer.
Yeah, they just gave up, even though they had like the new WoW. They themselves didn't know it, but they had the new WoW. I would have just kept playing it and buying it. And I don't know. They should have done like an $8 monthly, and I think they would have been a lot more happy with, like, if they were pulling in, like, you know, if they had, you know, it dropped down to around 30,000 players, because it always does. But if all of those people pay $8 each, that's $240,000 a month, you know, and it's not enough money. But it is like enough to like maybe continue to at least like not shut the game. It might pay for the servers.
For the fans, it felt
I think when they realized that beyond the sales of the box, they would make no money, you know, and that we weren't all going to pay for seasons and all this stuff, they just scrapped, and that's dumb, because it's like, you know, you could have just changed things.
like a rock pool, to say the least. Returning players.
I miss New World, and I like, if I could justify playing it, I would, you know. Maybe there'll be a private server eventually, but yeah, right. Yeah, what happens if you type in Fallout 76 to Luna? Like, it won't let me play it, will it? No, I don't think so. And you can't search either. No. There's only like 25 games on this or something. Ugh.
Season Pass, logged in, excited for new content, and then they were told the game was essentially being retired. Imagine that feeling. Community, impact, and hope. Still, the servers remain online, for now at least. There's even petition asking Amazon to reinstate the development team. Some rumors suggest another publisher could acquire New World, but they would need a new team familiar with the ISAT engine, a highly customized engine built specifically just for this game. It makes a future revival extremely complicated. It's a bleak situation, and yet the game still has so much potential. Private servers, a potential buyout, or community-driven projects to still keep the spirit of New World alive. My personal reflections and closing of this video, well, looking back, New World is one of those games that sticks with you. It was not perfect.
Yeah.
Far from it, but it had a soul. The world felt alive.
Yeah, I don't want to do this video anymore. Go back to gaming. I don't care about this shut down forever stuff. I'm not interested. The game console for murderers. Reload this now. And it's just, you can't do more or whatever. Can we change? Oh yeah, there's like instant games on YouTube now. That's interesting. Eventually, that'll probably be the future. Oh, here we go. Trending videos. Here we go. That's what I've been looking for. There, I got the wrong link. You can delete this. I want this. This is the page I was actually looking for. League of Legends, Salvation, useless AI trash from Penguin Zero. Did we ban this channel? Hassan lost his mind. Our season challenge is on the line. South Park is like Fortnite got South Park. Oh, so Fortnite did a South Park episode, I guess. The Dark Minions theory is insane. Not interested. Learning Rocket League Day 2, not interested. GTA 5 Online, a very hard Christmas. Funny moments. I shouldn't have taken that medicine. From Queso. Roblox Y from Creekcraft. Jinxie versus Los Pollos. Siege. Base building progress in Minecraft. Q's shop yet for Minecraft. Whatever I say comes out of Lucky Blocks. Minecraft. I don't care about Minecraft. Roblox. I fixed Alabama in college football 26. Nope. Totally accurate battle sim. Ultimate Werewolf 2025 marathon. Ultimate Werewolf 2025 marathon. Smosh games. Ugh. How to fake an entire esports career without ever playing the multi-year scheme of Tokyo Girl. That sounds like a good enough one. Kill the last list. Yeah, close the player. Cue this one. Video game donkey on Wario Wonderworld. Finally joining the Raiders. I opened the rarest cursed lucky blocks. I became the owner of Roblox Rivals. I hired a pro to troll my little brother. What is that? A fucking Roblox game? I'm not interested. Roblox slap battles. I'm not interested. Free business, 4x money bonus, discounts, and more. Free business. What do you mean free business? Wait, free car wash. Okay. Okay, whatever. Yeah, I guess I'm sort of like, I don't know, still going out. Mom becomes a gamer for her son. No, it's slop. Get rid of that. I secretly admin abused in Roblox. Nope. Someone's following me in GTA 5. Character teaser, Columbina. Columbina. I found the greatest episode of every TV show. From Ludwig. That's Ludwig, but changed. Oh my god. I don't like Ludwig. Johnny's first crush in Minecraft. Not interested. I told them they could beat it in 6 hours. They didn't believe me. What? Dark Souls? Yeah, if you skip the whole game. How does that make you, like, a good at the game? The banana horde has gone bad. Oh, shit. Did we open? What? Ooh. Is that a good gun? Yes, it is. So, that changes things. Oh, I'm out of blend. That was my last blend I just used. Oh, no. Mag Pulse. Hand loading. Oh, no. The Mag Pulse is good, but... yeah, maybe we go... here. Yep. And the Infant Tug Rev 63. Will go in my 3 slot. And then this MK2 is pretty good, yeah, but I don't think it's as good as this thing. This Tactician's Rare Particle Beam Gun. 116. This one's 138. Oh, yeah, but it has Frenzy and Stagger, which is awesome. So, the Inflictor is good. The Advanced Mag Shear. Nova Blast. I have a new Nova Blast. Disruptor. And that's everything, I think. Yeah. And I want to change up this to this. And that becomes my scope. And yeah, and honestly, the Mag Sniper, it's fine, but it's not like my favorite weapon. I'm gonna put it way down on the list. You can hear like somebody's in there stabbing them. Let's take over the ship. This is a watchtower ship, huh? This ship's unusual design leaves you unsure how to pilot it. Okay, I don't know what that means, but alright. Oh, I should check the cargo, I suppose. Decorate. There we go. And now I've got to go put a thing on it now. Oops. Nice sunny day.
Once you arrive, look for a lockbox. The owner should have dropped the car keys in there for you.
I'll plug my headphones back in here. piece of crap.
How far would you be willing to go in order to fake a life that isn't yours? In today's world, this is a question worth asking.
Zero.
Because let's face
not be willing
it, there's
to do
too
it.
many people out there renting a sports car for a day, pretending that it's theirs. And God, if I see another guru on a tropical island claiming that they made it because they did a few stock trades, then I might just burst a testicle. It takes common sense to understand that these people are using credit cards. This, of course, is all done in the hopes of trying to impress others. And while yes, it is pathetic, ridiculous even, it is done on a wide scale these days. I mean, this has gotten so big that there's an entire economy built around fake influencers. People who rent out mansions, sports cars, photographers, you name it, all in the hopes of appearing to be something that they are not. However, even though we've gotten to a point where this has gotten worryingly sophisticated, with an entire economy built around it, all of this still pales in comparison to the fake life that esports athlete Nafat Warasin has lived for the last few years. An absolute rising star in one of Southeast Asia's most popular games, she managed to get signed to one of the top esports organizations of the region, which eventually led her to the highest honor imaginable.
But she's never actually
her
played
country
any
of
games?
Thailand in the 2025 Southeast Asia Games. Now, yes, admittedly, throughout all this time, she definitely had some suspicious behavior. There were definitely some doubts in regards to her avoided nature, but her teammates attributed that to maybe her being awkward, to maybe being nervous. You see, no one on her top team throughout so many hours playing with her could have ever guessed that her entire esports career has been nothing but fake. And no one could have even begun to come to the conclusion that for all this time, she wasn't even the one playing. What's even worse here is that this only got exposed after she had gotten on the Thailand national team and during an extremely important game between Thailand and Vietnam, which would have led this team to the finals. Yes, she was actually caught red-handed live on stream during the semifinals of a competition that is the equivalent of the Olympics of Southeast Asia.
Arena Valor.
Guys, I can't even begin to explain to you the
So when she got there, they were like, "Oh my God, what are you gonna do?" And she was like the most nervous she's ever been. $5,000 for the car wash. Good. Okay, put my car away. Or well, I don't have to put my car away, but I want to go to the bunker. Oh. No, wait, I need to go do the stash. I always forget that the stash exists, and it's like the only other thing that's worth doing. Yeah, we'll go to the stash house, which is way the fuck out there by Chumash, I guess. I don't know, is this any further? Yeah, this is further, way further, so... Alright, we'll jump out to the Chumash bunker then.
Review test.
secondhand embarrassment. I mean, this was so humiliating. Not just for her, though, not just for her teammates, but for the entire country of Thailand.
God,
and if you thought this was bad, then wait till you hear who was the person that was playing remotely for her during her entire career.
Oh no.
We only recently got confirmation in the beginning of 2026, and it's one hell of a way to start the year. Look, when I saw this, I thought it was so ridiculous, we had to talk about it. So you already know the drill. Without further ado, let's do this. All right, so to fully grasp what's going on, we have to go all the way back to the year 2011, when Tencent would purchase Riot Games. This move was unprecedented and cost around $350 million. They were willing to make this bet because they understood how big the mobile market was becoming. But more importantly, they were also understanding just how quickly the mobile market was becoming. Barely 2 years prior, Angry Birds had come out. And a year later, Candy Crush would come out, and these games would generate billions upon billions of dollars. Soon developers would stop looking at PC and console and just focus on mobile because it was a cash cow, an absolute money printing machine, and it changed gaming forever. By 2015, Tencent's leadership team truly wanted to work with Riot Games to make a mobile version of League of Legends. But no matter what Tencent did, no matter how many pitches they made, no matter how much revenue they started talking about, Riot Games leadership wouldn't budge. They truly believed that the experience that PC offered could never be replicated on mobile. But Tencent wasn't simply going to take no for an answer. In fact, even before asking Riot Games for their permission, they were already developing a MOBA for mobile behind the scenes and released it on that same year in November 2015, exclusively for China. And that game would be none other than Honor of Kings. 10 years later, Honor of Kings is still the highest grossing mobile game of all time,
Honor of
beating
Kings?
Candy Crush, PUBG, Clash of Clans, you name it,
It's a crappy
making a
MOBA.
whopping $18.6
This is the Asian LOL.
dollars.
It's the Asian
The
League
game
of
would prove to
Legends.
be so successful that Tencent would release a non-Chinese version for the rest of the world. It would be called Arena of Valor, and it would be published by G Arena. Now, this game wouldn't really find a lot of success in the West, but would instead find its success in Southeast Asia. It is the biggest mobile game in Thailand, for example, and so it continued to garner an obscene amount of money. Riot Games, on the other hand, would finally release a mobile version of League of Legends called League of Legends Wild Rift in 2020, 5 years after Honor of Kings had released exclusively in China. In 5 years, they made $1 billion in gross revenue and aren't even in the top 50 highest grossing mobile games of all time. So if you ever needed proof that the people running Riot Games have maybe like barely 2 brain cells, this is it. And the reason why I told you all this is because this incident involves Arena of Valor. You see, esports tournaments in Southeast Asia always have a form of mobile games, whether it be PUBG or Arena of Valor, and they're taken very seriously. This is where the Southeast Asian Games come in. It's seen as this region's Olympics, and it happens once every 2 years. It features a wide array of different sports, and of course one of these categories involves esports, or specifically Arena of Valor. Now look, as I mentioned in the intro already, when it comes to Arena of Valor, Tokyo Girl was a rising star. So much so that Talon Esports, a recognizable name in the Southeast Asian scene, decided to sign her on their team. And I mean, by this point, one could argue she made it, right? What better indicator of success do you need in esports than being signed on to a team? But to Tokyo Girl, this was still the beginning of her journey, because with that same team, she would go on to compete in the Thailand Women's National Qualifier for Arena of Valor. And guess what? Her role here would be substitute. But she was so damn good that by the end, not only did they win the entire national qualifier, but she went from substitute to carry, one of the most important roles in the game. And yes, by the way, they won, which meant that they qualified to represent their country of Thailand in the Southeast Asia Games. That's what the qualifier was for. Team Talon was going to have the incredible honor of representing their country, and Tokyo Girl was right there as the team's carry. Not only that though, she was seen as the rising star of the women's Arena Valor esports scene and was being given nicknames like Beautiful Girl or whatever because she was both beautiful and incredibly
look like my ex-girlfriend.
skilled at the game.
All of them.
I mean, by this point, we could say that she truly, really made it, right?
Like
But
their
in reality,
hairstyles
this
and
is
what
where
they
things
think
were
is
about to get
attractive.
very real, because she and her team had immense pressure on their shoulders. You see, Thailand has the most gold, silver, and bronze medals in this competition's history. So they had high expectations to keep up the status quo. I should point out that this ranking isn't the most fair thing, because not all the countries on this list were members on day one. In fact, Vietnam, for example, started off as South Vietnam. But you get the point, okay? Thailand is well known to have the most medals in this competition's history. But that wasn't just it. The members of the Southeast Asian Games take turns hosting the games on their territory. And in 2025, the year her and her team were going to compete, Thailand was going to be the host. They were representing their own country on their own soil. The pressure couldn't have been higher. And so, on December 15th, it began. The Southeast Asian Games 33 Group Stage Women Arena of Valor Tournament. 4 countries participated: Vietnam, Thailand, Laos, and Timor-Leste. Based on the qualifiers, Thailand was on track to make it to the finals. All they had to do was win against Vietnam. This was their first game in this tournament. So Thailand's team's only goal here was to just defeat Vietnam so they can make it to the finals.
All of
and
this is
guarantee
about
second
rich
place.
people
If they
trying
would win
to
the
keep
next
poor
match,
people out
they
of
would
gaming, I
guarantee
think.
a gold medal.
On-
They were in a very
on-
good
on
position
free
here,
cell phone
and they were
games,
so close
too.
to getting a minimum
such a
of
weird
top
culture.
2. But of course, seeing that they're on their home soil and they're
But
representing their
I think
country,
it's
they were
much
going for
a
the
much
gold.
stronger community.
However, with some
Much
of the
more fair
complications they
community.
occurred, I'm sure that some
Much
of
more
the team
gender
members would have just
balanced.
rather gotten a bronze medal. In fact, no medal, rather than have to go through the embarrassment of having Tokyo Girl on their team. Alright, so here's the deal. Tokyo Girl's suspicious behavior would begin even before the game started. You see, as part of the tournament, they're all given a game phone. They can't use their own phone to compete, obviously. When Tokyo Girl would receive her phone, she'd ask, "Can I take the phone with me so I can set it up with my own settings?" She was told, "Of course not, that's against the rules." But that would only be the beginning of her suspicious activity. She'd be acting weird even on the live stream, trying to hide her phone from the camera in front of her, making it seem like there's something on there that would get her in trouble somehow. And then eventually, live on stream, the
She
Thai
was
coach
remote
would
viewing?
catch something weird happening on her screen, and this is when the game would be paused. People initially were confused as to why the pause was happening. Some of her teammates had no idea what was going on, but the stream kept running, and she was being confronted by staff. They noticed that the movements she was making on her phone weren't matching the in-game movements. And what's worse is that the game would continue after this, and her performance would become severely worse. It seemed like after being caught, a switch had flipped. And as the second game was starting, her performance became abysmal, barely able to get a single kill. But at the time, fans weren't even concerned with any of this. They were concerned with the fact that she was acting weird after being caught, making a middle finger gesture
like the
to
best
the camera.
players in the
This is,
world.
of course, seen
she
as very
can.
unprofessional and not fit for an athlete. But I guess this was
This is
just
why I
her
don't
way
cheat.
of coping with the idea that she was caught.
If I thought it would
So
make
as
me
mentioned,
better, I
after she
would.
was caught, the games
I don't think
kept
it
going
does.
on. Tokyo Girl's
I think it's
performance would be
the most sure
abysmal, some
way
of the worst games she's
to
ever
prove
played in
that
her
you're a
career.
loser.
And Thailand would end up losing to Vietnam 0-3. It was a very embarrassing defeat, but what was more embarrassing are the
Was the
extremely quick
cheating.
and ruthless consequences that came her way on the same
I like
day.
stories like this. Yeah.
Very
it's
shortly after
crazy.
Thailand's crushing defeat to Vietnam, the Thailand National Olympic Committee would post this letter on their socials, saying, "Decision on personal penalty for a Thai athlete of the Thailand Arena of Valor women's team, esports event at the 33rd SEA Games Thailand 2025. To whom it may concern, this is to inform you of the decision made during the Arena of Valor women's team match between Team Thailand and Team Vietnam in the winners final of the esports competition at the 33rd Southeast Asian Games on December 15th, 2025. A Thai athlete, Warasin Nafat, committed an offense under item 943 of the esports technical handbook by using unauthorized third-party software or hardware modification during game 1 of the match.
She
After
was
further
live streaming
investigation,
somebody else.
conclusive evidence was found, which led to the imposition of a personal penalty.
But she made so much
resulting in
money, she
expulsion
like
from the entirety of the
she made so much money that she was like she figured out some remote viewer for a cell phone in the Asian market. And they probably didn't even know what she was doing, but she was probably like, she probably had like a, just like a full-blown remote view cell phone app. And when they weren't looking, she probably slipped, she probably like poked a little chip into the bottom of the cell phone. Or no, I mean, not even that. She probably uploaded something to the drive. And it was like probably Pegasus, honestly. So she could create like a tunnel. The stuff you can do now to gain advantage over others is just insane. I don't value it. I don't think it makes you a better player, or I would do it. I just don't, you know. I don't think it makes you a better player. I think it makes you weaker.
esports competition at the 33rd Southeast Asian Games.
That's the thing, and this is the whole lesson. That's what this whole lesson is meant to teach you. It's like, yeah, even if you are super successful cheating, it doesn't matter. Like you don't have that basis to actually stand amongst your peers. So when it comes to eventually like a test where the teacher's watching your hands, or a tourney where the judge is watching your hands, and yeah, and all it takes is one, and then the whole world knows that you've been faking the whole fucking time, and then you probably get death threats and shit like this.
The decision is final. The above is for your information and understanding. Thank you and best regards. Signed, the Esports Technical Delegate of the 33rd Southeast Asian Games. So hey, that investigation didn't take long at all. And this letter would serve to be the beginning of a tsunami for Tokyo Girl's entire career. But before we get to that, let's take a step back. What the hell did they mean when they said using unauthorized third-party software or hardware modification? What exactly did she do? How could you even cheat in a MOBA game? Well, that wasn't clear. The Thailand National Olympic Committee didn't give any specifics, so you had many people theorize, and even news publications theorize, that what she was using was TeamViewer, a program that allows you to
I knew
remotely
it. I
control a
said
user's
remote
device.
view, and then I said it's like she had. I didn't say team viewer. I said remote view, but she must have had somebody remote viewing on the cell phone, which is insane. I was like, that's the only way you could have done this. How did she get the remote view program on the cell phone? They must have uploaded a Trojan.
But you see,
or Pegasus, something.
Anyone who's used TeamViewer before can attest to the fact that it's laggy as fuck.
Yeah,
the
like how did
latency
they
would not
do
allow you to
this?
compete in a high-level esports tournament, especially in a MOBA. It requires split-second decisions. Additionally, many people were wondering how we could even start talking about remote interference when this was a tournament. Aren't tournaments like this usually held on a local network?
Yeah,
well, it turned out that no, actually. Not in the case of the women's tournament. The women's
Oh
tournament
my
for Arena of
God.
Valor
How did they
was
find
on an
out?
online private server. So things were starting to get very interesting, to say the least. But
They
no
all had to
proper
be in the
conclusions
same
were
room.
reached just yet as to how she cheated. In the meantime,
I
though,
can't
the tsunami
believe you are playing on your cell phone. Why would you lie about this? Well, I know why, because it's probably like $200,000 or something over a couple of years of a career. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money to me. That's 20 years of income of like what I'm doing right now. 20 years, you understand? More than that. It's like 24 or something. It's like 24 years. Like she wants to make in 5 years what would take me 24 years to earn on disability, and that's fucking fucked up, because it's like, why? I guess the money's more important to you than the games or the people that you meet while you're playing the games. I wouldn't be able to do this to people, especially not a team. I'd be like, no, I'm not, you know, I'm not taking a shot with their futures, you know? That would be far too much risk for me. I've always been a good criminal since I was a child. I don't really get caught for the big stuff, because I just don't take risks if it's not necessary, and that's the whole thing about crime. The less risk, the better. When remote viewing became what you had to do to not be found out, I would have called in sick. I would have called in sick the day before and left and then cited exhaustion, which I'm sure happens all the time. I'd be like, no, I'm sorry. When it came down to the day of it, I was puking sick, and I was just sick, and I've been experiencing the yips. And, you know, and I really was afraid I was going to have the worst game of my life. And so I just, you know, I slept through it. I woke up 8 hours later, and I'd had a mental breakdown. I called you guys to tell you I'm sorry I fucked you on this. And I'm, you know, what's that? That's like a disqualify for that team at that championship, which, you know, that's fine. That's a lot better than playing with a cheater. And that's what she should have done. But no, instead she had her nerd-ass boyfriend come in and try to hack everybody, to try to do a Donald Trump and try to pull the fucking wool over everybody's fucking eyes or whatever. It is fucking stupid. It's stupid. Like, that amount of risk, it would have been unacceptable to me. I would have been like, well, this is where the 200 grand stops. They finally made me show up in a room and play the game. And when that happens, you just quit. That's what a smart criminal would do. They'd be like, well, jig's up. This cell phone game thing was sweet. Now it's time to change my name, move to like Cape Town, South Africa or something, and go figure out some other hustle with the 200 grand that I made. And you better have saved that money. You better not have been buying expensive cell phones to play your crappy games and buying like Uber Eats and expensive. It looks like you're buying like expensive like hairdressers and clothing and stuff like this. Nah, you needed to save all 5 years of that 200 grand so you could actually live off of it. It's fucking, and honestly, that's not that much money. Like, you could have just gone and got a normal job. You would have made more money. Fucking stupid. Like, a normal job pays what? Like, probably 30 grand, right? So, yeah, after 6 years, like, I imagine they probably maybe sued her for this. They might have sued her for this. Because it threatens their brand, you know? It threatens their teammate could probably sue her teammates could probably sue her for this, because it threatens their careers, you know? And I would be terrified of all the fallout. Maybe the teammates want to kill you. Maybe they show up in your town like 5 years later in a yellow, you know, fucking like rain slicker like that guy in Last Action Hero or whatever, and they're like crazy because you ruined their career. That's the sort of stuff you should be thinking about when you commit a crime that puts other people's careers at risk. You should assume that sooner or later they show up with a shotgun at your front door, wherever it is you are, like 5 years later. That's one of the reasons how I got away with everything that I did. I didn't ever fuck anybody. I didn't ever fuck anybody over. I didn't make any enemies that I couldn't deal with. you know, etc. All the people that targeted me, they did it randomly. I didn't cause them to do that. And like, you know, I don't know, it's weird. It's like I see the risk. Nope, no ribs, no ribs. Hold on, let me sit up. Don't sit on my ribs, kitty. Okay, here you go. You can have my lap. You ready? There you go, kitty. Oh, she wants food, I think. Yeah, you want your dinner now, huh? Well, that sort of sucks. I guess I better go feed you. Oh yeah, I'm at the stash house, am I? At least I'm out the road where I'm unlikely to die. Oh, come on, man. Pretty kitty. Shall I feed you, kitty? Do you want me to feed you? Is it dinner time? Do you like those words? Feeding you? Feed you, kitty? Shall I feed you? Oh, shit. Fuck. Oh, God. That would break your back. What? $40,000 in ammo. Damn it. Yeah, shall I feed you, kitty? No, I think you're fine. I'll feed you when I go to bed.
Dimwit shithead. Ah! Dick. Goodbye.
2803.98. $2803.98. $2803.98. My pen was being cooked. Oops. By my electric blanket. Oops. Oh, you glitched again. God damn it. I'm curious to see if I go out to the menu and reload, will you still have the same glitch? Oh god, there's a lot of guys here for some reason.
on her career would continue, and Talon would very quickly release a statement saying she is out of our organization
good
effective
kitty.
immediately. Additionally, she'll be repaying around 9 months of her training costs for the entire duration of when she was under our organization. Now, they didn't specify a number, but around 9 months of training expenses? Yeah, that's not a small amount of money, I'm sure. As far as I'm aware, this also included prize money. And of course, seeing all
Oh
this
my god, they're like training expenses, which is like you can live while you learn. And if she wasn't learning anything, she was having her boyfriend play or whatever. Who was actually playing?
G Arena wasted no time whatsoever and also put out a statement on their Facebook page. In it, they would of course express outrage and announce that they were banning Tokyo Girl from participating in anything related to Arena of Valor indefinitely, forever. But of course, this tsunami ending her career didn't just involve companies.
Wait, this
it also
fixed
involved her heartbroken teammates, like for example, Give Me a Kiss, the captain for the Talon team, and by that same token, the captain for the Thailand national team. On December 15th, she'd post, "I was heartbroken when I found out, but I'll do my best." Her heartbreak is of course in reference to her teammate cheating, but her saying that she'll do her best was in reference to the game they've still yet to play in the lower bracket final. You see, shortly after the game with Vietnam, Tokyo Girl would get benched. The Thailand national team would then bring in the substitute to play against Laos because they had won against Timor-Leste and therefore qualified to play Thailand in the lower bracket final. The winner of the lower bracket final would face off against Vietnam in the real finals for the gold medal. Thailand would actually end up winning against Laos, qualifying them for the final.
Okay, guys, I'm going to bail here. It's 2:40 in the morning, and I think I've lost most of my audience to bed. I am going to go to bed now, and I will be up tomorrow to play some more video games. Tomorrow I go for a haircut and shopping and stuff, so I won't be on like right away in the middle of the day. It'll probably be more like 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock, but I'll be on at 2 o'clock to play. Thank you so much for your time. I love you guys, and so this session was recorded. It will be placed on my YouTube channel, which is reflected here. I have thousands of videos. Thank you so much. You guys have been watching a lot of my videos. Thank you so much. And so here we go. I am Skycatlive. Click on the cat space to donate. Come to the Twitch or the YouTube. Give me a like, sub, or a follow. And I love you, and I will see you guys later. This was a 10-hour recording. I will place it on my YouTube channel, and it'll be up there in just a couple of hours. I'm going to stop and record here.